Hey everybody, we're just going to fly out another project here. This is going to be an addition to the bench leaf top impression series. This is going to be pretty quick. It's pretty simple like the other one was, but a little bit different. It's going to be more like a collage. So let's get at it. So a lot is the same. Like in the other video. This one's just going to be a wee bit shorter. The client wanted this one to be 35 inches. I think the other ones were 39 or 40. She just wanted it a little bit smaller, and I think it's a 15-inch width. Same depth as the other ones. Again, no release necessary because it's the melamine. I've got that coving in, just like the first one I did. You can see those are brad nails in there, but they're sunken in. And it's got some silicone on top, a clear silicone. The same silicone I used in the other parts of the series. So we're ready to go. So this one's going to be like a collage of different leaves. So I've gone out back, and I'll just show you what I've come up with here. So we're back, and I've been out back, and I've done a little bit of picking. Actually, we have a local park that's quite close too, so I went and grabbed a few things. But these are just you could use anything you want. You don't have to use anything that I'm using here at all. You can do whatever you want. But I'm just going to show you some that are work out quite well for me. So this is just basil from out back in my little herb garden. They're a nice little leaf. They do a nice impression, so nice for filling in. I've got some baby ligularia. We've got some really cool little baby gunera. These are going to be pretty awesome in there. This is a baby Japanese rhubarb. I think I have another one in there somewhere. More ligularia. This is a castor bean. I know it looks a lot like cannabis, but it's not. It's just a little castor bean. I think they get huge. The big ones are way too big for the casting. So here's another one here. You can see, but they get massive. So, but these are kind of cool for in the bench. Another little baby gunera. And here we go. These are some baby elephant ears. I'm lucky enough to have about 6 big plants in the back that I can just pluck off of. This is a baby rhubarb here. I think I have another one in here too. Here's a little bit different shape. You can see. It's cool. And then a lot of maple. This is called 9 bark. I don't know if you know what that is or you have it in your area. It's got some really nice veins on the back. Makes really nice impressions for the leaves. What else we got down here? This is just leaves from a wild rose. Elderberry works really good. Some bigger elderberry. I like to have range of sizes from small to large, medium, everything in between. Some little Japanese maple. Chestnut, but they're great for detail. I won't put a whole one in like this. I have on really big benches, but I'll pluck one of these off and just use some single leaves like this instead of the big fan out there. And down in the bottom, I've got a whole bunch of different size maple leaves. Of course, I'm in Canada, so you can't make a bench without maple leaves. So that's it. There's quite a few different kinds. There's even some other different ones. I'm not too sure what they were. I just like the look of them. And this is from a mountain ash tree. But mix it up. It's nice to have a big variety and throw them on the bench there. Like I said, you don't have to do it like this. You could do a hosta bench using all hosta leaves. You could do all maple leaves. You could do all castor, whatever you think you could do it, all basil leaf. Whatever you feel like. Like, I'm nobody to tell you what you want to do, but it's just fun to play. I like to look at the leaves. I'll give you one clue. If the leaf on the back side, like things like zucchini and pumpkin and cucumber, it's got kind of a fuzz on the back and it's kind of prickly, they don't do good for leaf impressions. The cement kind of sticks to it and you get a really lousy outcome from it. So try to avoid any leaves that on the backside are like fuzzy or furry. They just don't work well. They don't leave a good impression and it can kind of wreck your piece. So anyway, that's it, and then I'll show you what the next step is. Okie doke, so we're just about to get started here. I just wanted to mention one thing. You've probably seen while I was going through the leaves, the odd one has a hole in it. So like this chestnut here has a little hole here and a little hole here. What I'm going to do is I'm going to accentuate that. I'm going to make it bigger. So say you've got a big hole like this in your leaf and you're like, oh dang, I can't use that. What I like to use is, you can use Scotch tape, but I like this, it's this red tuck tape they use for plastic after they've put insulation into the wall. It sticks really well. So what you want to do is where the hole is, don't put it on the back of the leaf, put it on the front side of the leaf. So you can see that sticks really well, and now you've patched that spot. So you won't notice it when you're doing your pour, when you take the finished product off. So that's anyway. You could do that too when you're casting leaves, like big rhubarb leaves, etc. If there's rips and tears in them, just put a piece of tape over that hole on the top side, because this is the side you're going to be using for casting in. So I'll just show you quick here. This is the same silicone as I used before. Try and get a better angle for you here. 1 sec. There we go. Sorry for the fuss. So same silicone as I used before. This one it has color, and I'll show you why I'm going to use the colored one. So again, make sure your leaves are dry. Make sure your leaves are dry. Whoopsie. And what you're going to do is, not the back side, just make sure you put it on the right side, because then you're going to have a problem, is I just take a brush and I go dip it into the silicone, and I'm actually going to paint it on. Can't see that very well, can you? Go this way. There we go. That's better. So I'm just going to brush out to the edges. And you just want to make sure you get good cover. You don't want these leaves, you don't want them moving around. Like the big leaves in the first video, they didn't need a lot to keep them glued down. These little ones, they tend to want to float a little bit. So as you can see now, it's all done up close to the edges here. So you can see it's there. Now we're just gonna go into our mold, and I'm just gonna randomly put it anywhere. There's no rhyme or reason to this. I'm just gonna lay it in and just give it a push down. So maybe I'll show you one more different kind of leaf. So that was a baby rhubarb I had there. Let's go with a chestnut. How's that? So there's a chestnut. Again, the top side of the leaf. Silicone on the brush. Painting outward. It's too hard. If you're painting in ways like this, you're going to be pulling the edge of the leaf. So just paint out to the outside from the center out. Okay, and that one's ready to go now too. And again, no rhyme nor reason, just put it in any old way for something like this, for this collage type. And you can see they press down really nice. And you just keep going until you think you have enough leaves in. So I'll cut away and I'll come back when I'm ready to go. Okie dokie. It's been about an hour from start to finish. So there you can see they're all laid out. So this is just me you don't have to do it. You can do whatever you want. I have this thing about I like going over top of the molding in a few spots. I just think it adds a little bit of cool interest. It's sort of my thing. A lot of people might say, hey, you're wrecking your side molding or what, but I sort of like how it looks after. You'll see after I demold it tomorrow or the next day. I'll do a quick vid, but you can see everything's spread out nice. You can put it tighter, you can overlap them. Only problem if you overlap them, it gets a little hard when you've got to pick all these leaves out later. And sometimes it gets hard to discern one from the other, but up to you. You don't have to listen to me what to do. You do whatever the heck you want to do, just as long as you're having fun. That's the whole idea. You could run them up the sides if you wanted to. I've done that before as well, but I'm not going to on this one. So there we go. So now the next steps are exactly the same in the first few parts of the video, right? The concrete mix is going to be the same. You can see I got my reinforcement there. I've got my scrim ready. It's going to be exactly the same as the very first video, the very first couple parts of this series. So I don't have to show you all those rest parts. You can just go back and refresh your memory on those first couple of videos. And it's exactly the same process. Okie doke. we are. The next morning, here's our piece, and I think I covered this a little bit in the last one. This is just a piece of plywood with some old carpet on it, just shot on with some little brad nails or crown staples, I can't remember. But it just helps for a softer landing spot for your bench. You don't want to scuff it up on a hard surface and break some edges or what. So I'm going to show you, for goodness sakes, if you're alone and you can't handle a weight like this, don't be trying to do this on your own. I really insist that you get help, get someone to do it. I don't have any choice. I'm by myself, so I have to make it work. So sometimes I have a buddy next door, he comes over and gives me a hand, but please everybody, safety first. I don't want people getting hurt trying to do something like this. Get some help. So all I've done, it's sitting on the two 2x4s, right? And now I've got it just underneath the edge of the carpet piece, just underneath the edge of the box. So I'm going to flip it up. So it's up on its edge. So I've just put a couple shims down, just to give myself a little bit of protection in case it does happen to slip out of my hands. But it should be just fine. So there we go. Now it's all good to go. So now I'm just going to take off the sides. Excuse my back. There we go. It didn't take too long. So it's just a putty knife that I had in there. You can use one of these guys. See how quick that goes. Just gonna pop the top. You hear the silicone releasing. There we go. There it is. So now comes the fun part. Don't worry about the little bits of white paint. Remember, I got that off with some acetone before. But now you're going to start working like you did before with the little picks. And it looks nice, like most of it's come off on the board, which is awesome. Saves you a lot of time. But there's still some picking that you got to do in here and some refining. So that'll probably be the next thing I'll show, is just doing a little bit of work on it. And then I'll show you the final product. I know I'm wearing camouflage, so you probably can't see me, right? I'm just blending into my surroundings. Okay, here we go, back on the bench again. And this is a little different. The client wanted just some randomly painted leaves on the top of the bench. So I haven't used paint. I've used my water-based stains, and I'm just using them as concentrate. I'm not diluting it at all. And I'm just putting it in just this little tray here, just the different colors, and hand painting with these little brushes here. So I tried to do a demo with my camera, with the telephone here, or the camera on the phone, of close-up work, but it just kept going in and out of focus. It didn't work worth a poop. So just a really good brush with a nice fine tip on it. This one here too. The trick with painting with stain on your concrete, number one is don't have it wet at all. Like, don't be wet curing, don't spray down and start painting. The problem with the stains is they bleed like crazy, so you have to be really careful when you're painting, just to follow the very, very dry edge between the bench and the leaf imprint. If you go over, it's going to bleed onto the surface, and then you're going to have a big problem on your hands. So just be really careful, go slow. You can mix colors. You can see there's a different few other colors mixed in here. I'll try and get a little bit close up for you. Like I said, it goes in and out of focus. So you can sort of see what I've done there. Also, I was going to say how I run them over the edge. Remember we talked about that? Here's one in the front. You can see, and one over the side. If you don't like that look, then you don't have to do it, but I kind of like it going over the edge like that. I don't recommend trying to stain those ones that go over the edge, because if you have a little bit too much stain on your brush, it's going to run over the edge and it's going to run down the front, or sorry, the side. So I'd avoid doing those ones there. I was going to, and then I chickened out. I thought, no, I don't want to wreck it. So this thing's pretty well ready to go to sealer. I'm going to leave it overnight again, just make sure all the stain's nice and dry. I did my edges, like the bottom edge. Remember I mentioned before, I rounded over with that little trowel of mine, and then there's just a little line between the trowel and the edge. I just go with the concrete stone back and forth, and then just with a sanding block just to smooth it down so the edge is nice and... So you can see the edge, it's nice, it's rounded over, it's been all sanded down. Okay, so we'll be ready for sealer, and I'll probably do that tomorrow and finish off the vid. Thanks, you guys.